Hi everyone, it's Jeanette here from the Sewing Studio with another fun one. I've been having so much fun with this and really enjoying it, and I know all of you out there know how much I enjoy this. And it's a rag quilt. I was asked, could you do a rag quilt for us, Jeanette? And of course, can I use flannels? So my first quilt, which is the one hanging behind us here, is a rag quilt, and we've got lots of different flannels in, and I actually chose flannels from a range called Farmhouse Flannels 3 Moda. There's also a lovely range we've got in at the moment, which I think is called Prairie Gatherings, and hopefully we can put a little clip in of what those look like, because they're going to be beautiful in a quilt as well. But I chose these because there was two distinct colourways in it. There were these greys and blacks, which we've got on the front, and at the end I'll show you the back as well, because that's creams and browns. So in effect we've got a really nice reversible quilt. So I'll be talking to you a little bit about how I've made that one, but I'm actually going to demonstrate on a smaller version. I had a charm pack, and I've combined it with some of our lovely Moda Flow fabrics, and I'm doing a little mini version with a charm pack, and this is using 42-inch squares. So I've replaced some of my charm pack squares with some of the solid Moda Flow Moda Flow fabrics to go into this one, because the charm pack I've got is very floral, and I just felt it needed to break it up a little bit. So before I get into the how-to, I'll just talk a little bit about the quilt behind me. Now I used 10-inch squares for that one, and I actually cut my 10-inch squares from fat quarters. You need 30 for the front for that size quilt and 30 for the back. So I chose 8 fat quarters from the black and grey range for the front, and 8 cream and brown fat quarters for the back. So that would give me 32 squares. Now, just a note on sizes of fat quarters, because I know UK, European, we work in metres. So when fabric gets cut off the bolt here, we get 1/4 of a metre. So our fat quarters measure 22 by 20, whereas I know in the US and other places that might be using yards, your fat quarters would only be 22 by 18. So you wouldn't get the same amount of 10-inch squares out of your fat quarters, is basically what I'm saying here. So you've got a couple of options. You could either buy a bit more fabric to make sure you had your 20 inches to get your 4 10-inch squares from a fat quarter, or you could reduce the size of your squares to 9 inches, and that works perfectly well. You would just have a slightly smaller quilt. So you've got a couple of options to look at there. But I think I always have to mention the difference between our sized fat quarters and the yardage fat quarters. Now the rule of thumb for this is really easy maths, is whatever size your fabric squares are, you need to cut your wadding 1 inch smaller. So for this I had 30 10-inch squares for the front, 30 10-inch squares for the back, and 30 9-inch squares of wadding, which I just cut from my scraps of wadding. So it's a really good project for using up your scraps. Now the other thing to say about this rag quilt, it's simple, it's very easy, it's very quick. It's definitely something you could do in a weekend. And probably it took me as long as to sort of snip through all the seams and rag the edges as it probably did to sort of make the quilt. But it's not too time consuming overall. I just did it in a couple of sessions in front of the TV with my scissors, and sort of did that. So just break the jobs down into nice little manageable chunks, and it goes really quickly. So I think that's all I need to say overall. Just to say the measurements on that quilt, I think they're 44 by about 53 is the approximate measurements. And you don't need binding or anything for this as well, so it's super, super simple. So let's have a look at how it's made. So I've got my 5-inch charm pack squares here, and as you can see, I've started to put my rows together. Now I'm just using the same fabric on the back for this one, and this was just a piece of fabric I had in my stash, just in my leftovers. So I've got my 5-inch squares. Let me put it under the close-up so you can see. So there's my front 5-inch square, and then I've got my 4-inch. Our wadding needs to be 1 inch smaller than our squares there, and then I've got a 5-inch square for the back as well. So that's all the sort of requirements you need to make a single block, and then you of course can choose how many squares you're going to do, what size, and how many you're going to put together to get to the size of quilt you need. Now this is really suitable for beginners because it's actually, it's quite forgiving. So we're just going to do this, and I'm just going to take my background square, lay it down, and then I'm going to centre my piece of wadding. Now I do it by eye. If you want to measure it to get it into the exact centre, you can, but I just look at it by eye, and you should have 1/2 inch all the way around the edge of your wadding. So to my eye, that looks pretty even all the way around. So I'm going to go with that. And then we're going to take our charm pack square and we're just going to lay it on top so the edges meet. And then I'm just going to take 4 pins, and I'm actually just going to put them around the outside edges, just making sure I go through the wadding as well. And once we've got those 4 pins in, it's ready for quilting, which is going to be our next step. Now I sort of processed this. I went through, laid all my pieces out, made 1 row, put them together, and then took that row to the machine, quilted that row, and then the next, and then the next. And that just sort of speeded it up, and I just sort of did it row by row and then started to put it together. Now let me just bring this one down so I can show you how we're going to quilt really simply. Now you can quilt in whatever pattern you want, but I think the trick with the rag quilts is they need to be sort of quite loose and floppy. And the more quilting you put in, the stiffer you make your quilt. So you don't want to over quilt this, because you'll have a sort of rag quilt that's very rigid. So all I've done on mine, as you can see here, let me actually show you on a coloured square, you can see it a bit more. We're just going to do a cross from corner to corner in both directions. So I had my squares for each row, and I just chain pieced them through, went in one direction and then went back through and did the other direction. Now you can mark, and I use the chalk marker at home. I'm actually going to use a water erasable here just because I've got it at hand. So all I'm going to do, hopefully you can see that a bit better. And like I say, this does not have to be perfect, so it's definitely, I say, a nice beginner friendly. So I would do that to all my squares in all my rows, or all of them at the beginning, and then I'm going to take that to the machine, and I'm just going to do a quilting stitch. So I'm going to set my machine length, stitch length to 3.0. That's sort of my standard, either 3.0 or 3.5, and we're just going to quilt that in both directions. So I'm now just going to follow those lines that I've drawn in both directions just to quilt these 3 layers together. And there it is quilted. So really fast, really simple, and like I say, a little bit forgiving. If your edges don't exactly line up, because we're going to snip them later, it's not a big issue. And you can see, because of where I've put the pins, I've been able to quilt that without having to remove any of the pins. So if you sort of pin like that, you can just go through really simply. And as I said, I just sort of sat there and chain pieced all the squares through, and I did it a row at a time just because it was simpler for my brain to do it like that. So now we can take these pins out. They've done their job. So I'm just going to set that one aside. That's going to be my final row, and I'm actually just going to bring this in. This is actually going to be my row 4, which we're going to attach onto here in a minute. But first of all, I'm going to show you how to assemble this row. So I've got my next row prepared here. So I'm just going to lay them out, and I've put them in the order I want them to appear in the row. So if I lay them out like this, you'll be able to see this is going to be my sequence. Like that. Let me just move that out the way a little bit so you can see all of those there. And we're going to join all of these one to the other, to the other, to the other with 1/2 inch seams. So basically that 1/2 inch we've left all the way round is going to be our seam, and that's the bit we're going to snip in to at a later stage to make all the ragged edges. So what I do is I leave them in the sequence that I want to sew them, and I take them to the machine like that, because then I can just take the next one, take the next one, take the next one. Now at home, I tend to work on 2 rows at a time. So I could just keep chain piecing them in and then going back and adding the next square to the next row. But I'm just going to work on 1 row here just to make it a bit quicker. So let's do that. Okay, so this is my square number 1. This is my square number 2. I've put a different foot on so I can get my 1/2 inch seam, and I've moved my needle so that the edge of the foot here is now going to be my 1/2 inch. Now for this, now muscle memory always says right sides together, but for this we want to go wrong sides together. So if you're looking at the back of the fabric, you're doing it wrong. And I did this wrong several times, even though I was saying to myself, wrong sides together, because it's opposite to what we normally do. So I've got wrong sides together. So I've got the right side of what's going to be the front of the quilt facing me. So I'm just going to put a couple of pins there just to help hold it. And then we're going to do a 1/2 inch of seam all the way along there. So that's what that's going to look like. So you've got this little ridge here, and this is what we're going to rag later. So now I can add my next square on. So wrong sides together again, match up the edges, and then we'll sew our 1/2 inch seam. And there's that one added. Now we would normally just carry on until we get to the end of the row, but I'm just going to skip ahead and go to a row that's already been sewn together, just so that this video doesn't go too long. So that's what it looks like on the front with our bits here, and that's what it looks like on the back. So you can see it's all nice and neat on the back, and we're going to be all raggedy and lovely on the front. So I'm going to set that one aside, as I said, and I'm going to skip ahead to my row 4 here. And this is definitely also something I do at home, is label your rows. If you want them in a specific pattern, just label your rows and just sort of work through methodically. Now the other thing I'll show you as well, because when you start putting your rows together, you can get a little bit confused where the start row was. So I always put a pin in my top left corner, and then I always know that that's my top left sort of starter square, if you like. So if I put this away and then sort of come back to it, I can pick up where I left off. So this is going to be our row 4. So once again, we're going to do exactly the same as if we were doing any other piecing. We're going to use 1/2 inch seams though, that's the only difference. And we're going to put wrong sides together. So as long as we keep doing the 1/2 inch seam with wrong sides together, we'll be good. Now with this, I press all my seams. The odd ones here are going to the right, and the even ones, all the seams are going to the left, because we still want to match our seams. If I turn this over on the back and put that one in under the close-up, because we want it to be nice and neat on the back here. So as close as we can get it. Now, in some respects, it doesn't really matter what's happening on the front, because by the time we snip into it all, you don't really see it. So that's another reason why it's really forgiving. So this is going to be my row 4. It's going to go on like that. So I'm going to push all the seams on my row 4 to the left. And I pin diagonally with the pin pointing that way, which means I can get my machine needle right up to that seam before I have to move the pin out. Let me put that under the close-up so you can see. So I can get right up holding that seam before I need to remove that pin. Now the other thing you'll notice on my machine here, I didn't put the walking foot on. At home I did use a walking foot. So, basically just to show you, if you haven't got a walking foot, it is more advantageous if you do. But if you haven't, you can still do this. And then last one. But yes, a really nice beginner-friendly quilt. That whole big one I more or less made over a weekend, so all the time it would take over a weekend. And we're now just going to sew all the way down there. Now on this last seam, I'll just show you what I've been doing as I've been sewing there, is when I get close to that seam, I just double check that everything's still nice and flat, and you can sort of feel it with your finger if there's any sort of ridges or gaps there. And then I do what they call finger pin. So if you sort of notice, I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on those fingers there. So my fingers are also helping to hold that seam in place so it doesn't move. And then when I get to that seam, I can now let go, take the pin out, and then just carry on sewing to the end. So I really just concentrate on where those seams are and putting a nice lot of pressure on the fabric to really hold it in place. So I'm just going to check the back and make sure I'm happy with where all my junctions have come out with the seams, and I am. I mean, if it's slightly off, sometimes I don't worry too much. But I just check my back, make sure I'm happy with it. Get rid of any threads that are poking out. And then that's our 4th row added on. And you just keep going. There's going to be 7 rows on this quilt, so I'll have 3 more to sew and add. And then this little quilt will be done, the sewing. So all that's left to do then is to turn it into the ragged edge. Now I use these scissors. These are mine, I brought in from home. And for me, they were the absolutely perfect scissor to use on this. 2 things, they're really sharp, right to the point. But also, if I take the catch off there, they're sort of spring loaded. So it meant that I was only ever sort of doing that action. My hand wasn't also having to open the scissor. So it saved a lot of hand ache. And like I said, these were the perfect scissor for this. So if you've got a pair, I would highly recommend you get them out. I got mine from here, but like I say, these are mine that I bought and use all the time at home. Then all you do is, sorry, one more thing actually before I start snipping. You can see here around the outside, because we haven't joined anything, we haven't got a seam. So what I would do before I did the final clipping on this is I went around with a 1/2 inch seam right around the perimeter of the quilt. And then I've also, and I'll show you on the large one at the end, I've also sort of snipped into that. I'm not going to do it on this because I haven't quite finished it, so I'll do that all at the end. But on the big quilt, this would all be finished. I would have gone around with my 1/2 inch seam on the end, and then I would start clipping. So let me just show you. I'm going to start in one of these centre rows here because it's not going to matter too much. And all I do is I just sort of hold the fabric so I'm not snipping into any bits of my quilt. And then I'm literally just going to get my scissors and just make little snips in, close to, but not right up to that seam. And I did it about every sort of 1/2 inch. And you can see these scissors are absolutely perfect for this. So once again, that first snip, particularly because it's being held by that seam, I really sort of get my finger in under there just to make sure I'm holding it away from my actual sort of square that's sewn down. And then I just make little clips. And as I said, this was something I just sort of did in front of the TV. So that's as simple as it is. Like I say, nothing complicated at all. Very simple quilting. Just remember the 1/2 inch seams and the wrong sides together, not the right sides together. That's the one that little hole I fell in several times before my brain went, wrong sides, Jeanette, Jeanette, together, wrong sides together. But you'll know you're doing it wrong because this finished seam will be on the wrong side. So it's simple to unpick if you do that. But like I say, after you get going, it's really quite quick. So should we have a little look at the large quilt behind us, and I'll talk a little bit more about that one. So here it is, all finished. Like I say, my lovely fleecy one. This is so snuggly, honestly, I love it. It's ended up about 44 inches by 53. As I said, it's 30 10-inch squares, 5 by 6. No binding because I've ragged the edges as well. So really nice, simple for that as well. You don't have to be struggling with binding. These fabrics are lovely. They've got these lovely checks and plaids, and there's a nice sort of dog tooth and everything in here. And as I said earlier, it's reversible. So we've got the browns and the creams on the back. So you can sort of choose which colourway you want to snuggle under. Just loads of fun. Like I say, have a look at some different flannels. We've got some other ones, nice ones here in the shop as well. But really a lot of fun to do and really very simple, definitely beginner friendly. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you give it a go, please do share your photos with us. We'd love to see what you're all doing and sharing your photos with us here and also with other people. Online, we've got Facebook and Instagram that you can send your photos through to us, and we can see them if you tag us in that. So thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed that, as I said, and I hope you'll join us again here next time in the Sewing Studio.